red wasp is after me. Pregnant ladies and little kids better get the hell out of the way, because I am running. I'm like Forrest Gump, dude. I am running. So, the Titanic was the biggest ship on the ocean, but that didn't mean it was unsinkable. Okay. All right. I want you each to use ombudsman in a sentence next week. I got one for you. My name is Kevin, the official ombudsman of the Just for Play podcast. You like apples?
All right, we are back with another episode of the JPP pod, and we are on to the championship round in the NFL playoffs, and we got a bunch of we got the guys with us, Uncle Tony, LJ, Pops, we're all here, and we should have noticed that all the favorites, all the top four teams all had an extra week to prepare, and they were all playing at home, and it showed on Sunday and Saturday because they dominated, and I should have taken note from that. I didn't, but the good thing is we have another week to do so, and if you're wanting to get on the action, we have the rooting interests are all dead now. LJ and the Broncos have been dead for a while, but now the Cowboys can be laid to rest as well.
Come on, Cowboys are out now. Kevin.
The Cowboys can now also be laid to rest, but we can still get on the betting action, and you can too at home. All you got to do is jump in on MyBookie and put in the promo code JPP, and they are offering our listeners a 50% deposit bonus if you sign up before the championship round. And apparently, Tom Brady doesn't think anyone's believing in him, but maybe you should, because they dominated. I wanted to go straight into the AFC and start out. And I think I'm just going to start. Let's start with the Chiefs and Colts. And Tony, you mentioned earlier last week if Justin Houston and Dee Ford were able to get some pressure on Andrew Luck, that might turn the game. And boy, did it. They dominated. And I'm just going to jump straight to you. Let's go over to Arrowhead. Tony, what were your thoughts from that game opening up divisional round?
Yeah, and you've got it right there, Kevin. The Kansas City defense woke up. That week off really helped them and got them prepared. And the Colts have not had that poor of a performance from their offensive line just about all year. Even when they started 1-5, they had close games. And Chiefs came out and blitzed them. The weather was not a factor by the time game time got there. They did a good job prepping that field. 30 degrees, but the field was pretty clean. So that kind of took the Colts' ability to have a little bit of a power running game away from them. And Chiefs just flat out, the speed that they possess, it was amazing. It was on show on both sides of the football, and that really made the difference. Dee Ford, Justin Houston. I'm interested to see what happens with Mr. Brady this weekend, but yeah, I think speed was the difference there, and that was a surprise. We thought that the Colts offensive line would be able to hold those guys out, and when you don't have time to throw against the Chiefs, that makes it for a long day. And I will say this too: Andrew Luck was terrible. They just had a poor.
He was terrible.
They had a poor showing, and could not. Frank Reich looked like a deer in the headlights. It was just, these guys really are good. What were you expecting, man? I don't know what other game he thought he was going to, but that was certainly not the Houston Texans. It was the Kansas City Chiefs, and so great start.
I kind of think maybe
puts them back in the
that game showed us that the Texans really weren't as good a team, and the Colts just finally saw a good NFL team. And
that's a good point.
31-13 was the final score, and that's closer than the game really was. Everything I thought about that game going into it, the offensive line couldn't hold up. Luck was bad. Adam Vinatieri couldn't make a playoff kick. Yeah. What the hell's going on?
Couldn't make an extra point, for God's sake.
What were your thoughts from that game, LJ?
I mean, that Mahomes dive into the end zone, that was one of those plays that was like, this kid's going to be playing a long time if he can stay healthy, because that's the kind of heart you want to see in a quarterback. But yeah, it was just an ass whipping. It was maybe a twice in a generation sort of play, I think. It really stuck out to me last week. I said that there's no way that the Chiefs will be the team that can get to Andrew Luck and get a pass rush in, and I was clearly right. And as I was for all the games, that was a theme for this week. But yeah, it was a beatdown. It was just straight up beatdown.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to add on to that, Pops, or did you have any takeaway from that game?
Well, I mean, I noticed that the Kansas City had 4 sacks and 9 quarterback hits. 4 sacks is 22% of the sacks that happened all year. to Luck. I mean, Luck didn't know what to do. He doesn't know what guys around him what to do because he's not used to it. But wow, they got pressure on him. They just looked amazing. They looked really good. I noticed too, and this is something that's going to stand out through all of them. The time of possession was like 40 minutes for Kansas City and 20 for Indianapolis. And I'm going to tell you, I've got the average. We'll talk about it at the end, but that was pretty standard. The winning team had about 40 minutes time of possession. The losing team had about 20.
It was kind of, it almost is a little bit old. I mean, we have the top 4 offenses from the regular season are now advancing, but this week it seemed a lot about could you run the ball and control the clock, and the team that did that, seems like they're all advancing. And that's kind of what I want to talk about from this Chiefs game. Is do you even remember who Kareem Hunt is? I mean, Damian Williams looks like he might even be better. He had 30 touches for 150 yards, a touchdown. He was averaging 5 yards a touch. I mean, he looked amazing. And then Travis Kelce looks, I mean, it's not like this is new. We've known he's good, but Kelce looks just like what Gronk was before he fell apart. I mean, Kelce looks unguardable. He's fast. He's big. That quarterback, I think we might have mentioned a few times, he's pretty good for Kansas City. They're just going to be tough.
Kelsey's healthy too, right? I mean, he's never been healthy all year, has he? I don't think he's ever made a full season.
He looked healthy on Saturday.
Oh, he looked amazing. He looked fantastic.
Him being healthy usually lines pretty well up with him getting a W too. Like they fall apart at the end of years a lot, and Kelce misses a lot of end of years. So
he misses times. Yeah, exactly.
He's a big part of that team. He's a part of that team.
The Chiefs are just scary moving forward, and we'll talk about their matchup in the championship round in a second. But I don't think that defense is great, but we've seen time and time again when you can get a pass rush, it makes everyone else look better. And if there is 2 guys that are good, Justin Houston and Dee Ford are legit on that front. And then there's a big guy in the middle. I'm blanking on his name, Jones or whoever it is. They just get a good pass rush. And then Mahomes and Andy Reid will probably get a lead on you. And a pass rush is better when you got a lead. And that's the thing that happened to the Colts. All of a sudden they were down 21-0. And that offense just sputtered. They got that block punt that I thought would turn it for them. But even after that, they just couldn't move the ball on the Chiefs. And then that gets us to the next game in the AFC playoffs where the Patriots beat the Chargers. And that score, 41-28. And that is much closer than that game felt. That was a blowout. I mean,
that was no contest.
For as much as we talked about how that new defense that Anthony Lynn and them brought out for the Ravens, and they brought those 7 defensive backs, you might want to do something different than what you put on film all week against Bill Belichick, because Sony Michel looked like Corey Dillon back in the day. He was just carving them up. It was insane. I'll go straight to you, LJ. I know you love watching the Patriots in playoff football, and we get to do it a little bit more. So what did you think from that game?
I thought that the Chargers were definitely going to win that one. And I remember saying at the end of the game, Hannah she asked me, because we had kind of put a little an ego bet on it. And so she asked me at the end of the game, she was like, was there ever a moment that you thought Phillip Rivers was going to win that game? And I was like, I mean, basically no. It just never looked good for him.
Maybe that first touchdown to Keenan Allen, I thought, okay, here we go. And then after that, it was just dismantling.
Man, and I felt so bad for him at the end, because you got to keep getting out there and trying, and he was clearly busted. Like his knee was messed up or something, and he kept getting out there, tough as Roethlisberger out there, and could never. It was not even worth playing. It was sad to watch. It was a bummer. I hate the Patriots so much.
Anthony Lynn, he said after the game that one game doesn't show what a whole season is, and I do think the Chargers had a good year.
Yeah.
But it was once again, and Lynn's not going to be the first or the last, but once again, he looked like he got caught with his pants down by Bill Belichick. Yeah. And boy, and Dad, this game kind of went right along with what you were saying, time of possession. Did you write down that one for this? Because, boy, seemed like
let me tell
the Patriots had the ball the whole time.
New England had it 38 minutes and 20 seconds to 21:40 for the Chargers. I mean, I'm telling you, that is very consistent throughout. And I was so looking forward to Rivers and Brady battling it out, just score, back and forth. And it was just, I think about the middle of the third quarter, I quit even really paying attention. It was just obvious there wasn't going to be anything going on in this game. Belichick did it again. I mean, like I told you, I think he completely outcoached. I still think LA had probably the better athletes, But where was the defense? Where was that San Diego? Where's that LA Chargers defense? Where was it?
They
Where
came
was
out
Bosa?
with that
Go ahead, let Tony talk about Bosa a little bit.
Well, I'm with you. I didn't understand. They came out in that same look, that 7 defensive back look that did work so well. But the Patriots they started the game off looking like a machine. Through the first 30 minutes, I wrote down, they went 5 for 5 in the red zone, 5 for 6 on third down with just one penalty. And they just scored. At one point, it was 35-7 with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. And then the Chargers finally get a stop and they punt and they get the Patriots to punt them. And then they muff the damn punt. And the Patriots, you just can't shoot yourself in the foot against the Patriots in the playoffs. And Tony, go ahead and tell me, Edelman looked good. I might have been a little wrong on Julian Edelman, and your boy James White had a good game. It was a good AFC playoffs for you.
Yeah. So several things there in that game I thought were keys, but I thought was interesting. A couple of stats. At one point, the New England Patriots had 21 first downs, and the Chargers had 20 yards of offense. That's pretty telling that you're getting your ass whooped. And
I don't know what the score was at that time, but I would guess it was lopsided.
It was pretty lopsided. And then the 21 first downs tells you something else. And this is where Belichick, love him or hate him, he's so smart with his offensive football team. And I don't know if Josh McDaniels coaches offense or not, or if he's just the face boy so that Belichick doesn't have to go out and talk to people. But because I think Belichick sets this up. But, they took the first off, you'd never see anybody do this anymore. And you've been off for 2 weeks, and he takes the kickoff. He wins the toss. He takes it. He doesn't defer. And they march down the field for their first opening drive touchdown, if not all season, in like 10 games.
Yeah.
Hadn't had one.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? The guy knew what he wanted. He knew how to attack him. They took what Baltimore did to San Diego the first time they played them and ran the ball down their throats. And then the second thing they did, Tom Brady released the ball within 2 seconds. Bosa and Ingram never had a chance to get in the ball game because they chip blocked him, got him out of the way just enough for Brady to get off one Mississippi, and he was hitting people. Yeah. James White, Julian Edelman, nothing was really long downfield because they really don't have anybody to go long downfield. And so it was just a short passing game. And Belichick was, man, I'm glad you've got 7 defensive backs in there and play the cover 2 deep because I ain't going there. I'm just going to throw underneath. And what a phenomenal game plan. And they just ripped him a new one. It was pretty amazing to watch.
It was clear from the get-go that and I think you hit it right on the head, Tony, from when they took that opening kickoff, the Patriots knew when they started that game, there was something that they saw on film or the week before, and they were going to exploit the Chargers. And I think the Chargers, maybe at half they thought they would adjust, but it was 35-7 at halftime. The game was over by the time you think about adjusting. And now the Patriots are headed to their 8th straight AFC championship game in a row. That is just
Jesus. God,
that just is unfair.
It's amazing,
those fans are so spoiled.
That's amazing.
They have a chance at going to their 5th Super Bowl in 8 years. I had an interesting I read this on Twitter. Can you name, there's been 4 AFC quarterbacks who have been able to keep Brady from playing in the Super Bowl since 2000. So 4 AFC quarterbacks have beat him in the playoffs.
Oh God.
Can you name the 4 quarterbacks?
AFC quarterbacks?
It'll be an AFC quarterback to beat Brady and the Patriots in the playoffs.
No, sorry.
Flacco's one.
Flacco, Manning.
Flacco's
was
one.
Osweiler or Manning? Yeah. Okay.
Manning's one. So I thought y'all would get Flacco, Manning. The other two are pretty shocking.
No, it wouldn't be Elway.
No, not Elway.
Elway's done.
I'm trying to think, that was 90-something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's not that freaking old.
Let's see.
You're close. It was another guy that played quarterback for the Broncos.
It was not. Wait.
Tim Tebow?
Oh,
Jake Plummer. Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake. That's right, man. That is a deep pull there. I forgot.
And the fourth one is the Rex Ryan led Mark Sanchez offense from the New York Jets. They beat him once.
The dirty Sanchez. Wow.
That's the only 4 quarterbacks that have been able to beat Brady and the Patriots in the playoffs since 2000. Because we're also taking out the year they lost in the playoffs because Matt Castle was at quarterback.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Patriots just, they keep doing it. It's a machine. And every year they kind of seem to figure it out. And I think that game, just like you mentioned, Dad, that game, time possession, I wrote down the Patriots ran the ball for 155 yards on 34 attempts. and the Chargers ran the ball for 19 yards on 10 attempts.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So once again, time possession and running the ball kind of came in is what the game led to. And then moving right over to the NFC, the Rams beat the Cowboys, and it was same story, just a different day. And they just dominated the game on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
C.J. Anderson had 123 yards, Todd Gurley 115. They almost ran for 300 yards total. It was just a total annihilation. I'll go straight to you, Pops, because I know we watched the game together. 30-22 was the final score. And if I would have told you before Dak was going to throw for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no turnovers, you'd probably thought the Cowboys had a good shot.
Yeah, but if you'd also told me Elliott's going to have less than 50 yards rushing, the team had 50 total yards rushing. I don't think, let me see, I did write some of this down. Did they even get a hit on Goff?
They got one pressure on Goff, and this was a team that has been able to get pressure. Did you see?
And I'll tell you something else. And Ndamukong Suh decided to finally play. And
a rare Suh
decided to play, and play he did. I think he was the better interior lineman in the game Saturday than the other guy that's just, the most expensive, highest paid. Yeah, Darren Donald.
That other guy.
So, yeah. Yeah,
the best player in football. Yeah, Aaron Donald. That guy. Yeah.
I heard of him.
That guy. And Beasley, Beasley had one catch. I mean, he wasn't a part of the game playing. I think he had a bad ankle, but probably from catching all those fair catches last week.
Tony, what were your thoughts from that game? I know you always have a reaction to the Cowboys and the clapper.
Yeah, I thought that, to me, I was looking at Van Der Esch during that game, and because Sean Lee played some, and that tells you the fate of the Cowboys right there. But Leighton Van Der Esch was shell shocked. It was kind of like watching Lamar Jackson from the week before. If they would pan over from time to time when they saw Lee on there, and they would look over the sidelines. There's Van Der Esch with his helmet off, and he's just like, "Oh, I don't know where they're going, Coach. I got no clue." They really made that rookie look bad, and without that, they couldn't stop him. Jeff Heath had a terrible game, could not plug the hole, and they were not prepared to get their tampons pulled out by C.J. Anderson. It was just ridiculous. He was just pounding them. It was just terrible. They were not prepared for that Carolina barbecue to hit them like that, and
hit
they
him.
just
It
couldn't
did.
recover.
Hit him right in the mouth.
They couldn't recover.
Bojangles.
And I said, Bojangles. And I said last week that I think the Rams defense is the most balanced of any in the playoffs. And I think that showed. Dak got his 250 and 2, but they shut down the running game. They're a really balanced defensive team, and I think that showed. And Dallas needs one more playmaker. They just need one more playmaker. And you saw that Amari Cooper's not that guy. He's great against that zone defense. He's great when you give him that shot, but you can't give him the ball, say, Amari, go win this game for us. And they need one more because you can't hang it on Elliott all the time.
Yeah, but Tony, I think you're probably right, but they needed a defense. I mean, they couldn't stop the run at all. That's the problem. If they'd have stopped the run just a little bit, I think Gallup had 100 yards. Cooper had 65. I mean,
yeah, Gallup had a great game. Right, he
Gallup
really showed what he could do. Yeah, you got a good point. And they've got the skeleton to get that done. They have got to get another safety. I'm not a Jeff Heath fan. I think
Earl Thomas.
I think Earl Thomas. He'll be back from that broken fibula. I don't.
And he'll
think
have his middle fingers ready to roll.
He's got middle fingers ready to roll. But God forbid, because Lift's not going to like it if he shows up on the Cowboys. But I think that's the deal. They've got to get a couple playmakers on defense, and they need an impact corner to go besides Byron Jones. And I think if they do that, and maybe it's a rookie that they can get in. Who knows? But they've got to do that and see if they can develop.
They won't be doing it with their first round pick because that's gone. That's in Oakland. But
that's right.
LJ, I obviously have some thoughts on the Cowboys. I was going to ask you though, as you kind of bill yourself as the resident Cowboy hater, even though I kind of think you might have been rooting for him a little bit.
I was,
but what were your thoughts from that game?
I was definitely rooting for the Cowboys, and this is another one where we can say that I was wrong. But the biggest thing that stood out to me that wasn't something that's already been said is Aqib Talib almost gave the Cowboys a shot at that game all by himself. Did you see that play where he stupidly pushed, I don't even remember who it was, out of the end zone in a late game touchdown possible catch when it wasn't going to get caught in the first place? Like,
It's weird to think Talib has a little bit of a temper and maybe does things that he shouldn't.
That man will he'll win you about or he'll give you a shot on about 80% of throws, but about 5% he'll give it away for free. So anywho.
Well, the interesting thing I caught from that game, and it was something I read actually from the Ringer. They pointed out that one of the Rams offensive linemen, and it's what we've talked about. It's kind of the story of the game was running the ball, and the Rams did it, and the Cowboys couldn't. But I think where you saw the Cowboys look confused is the Rams just out-prepared them. And there was one spot where one of the offensive linemen said that they found some, and Dad mentioned this in the Baltimore game last week, but they found some tips on the Cowboys D-line where Marinelli doesn't blitz very often, but he runs stunts. And they said that they could tell by the way that the Cowboys defensive line lined up where their stunts were coming from and what they were doing. And I think you could tell that because C.J. Anderson's big bowling ball of himself wasn't getting touched till 15 yards down the field. I mean,
you let that
him and Gurley were and they were like Jeff Heath. I understand he didn't have a great game, but when you got Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson already a full head of steam by the time they reached the second level, there's a lot of guys missing that tackle.
Yeah. True that.
And when you've got your 10th tackle in the second quarter, you're looking over the sideline and say, "Look, guys, hey, somebody else got to do this, right? I can't do this."
And Goff wasn't great, but Goff was good enough. And it's just like Tony said, those young linebackers. I think Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch had a good year, but clearly, just like we talked about, Anthony Lynn caught with his pants down. They looked like Sean McVay just had them out in open field, and they didn't know what they needed to do. They didn't know who they should be guarding. The defense it looked like one team was prepared and one team wasn't, and that's who you see advancing. Does this game kind of between the success of Williams over at Kansas City and then C.J. Anderson's success this past week, it felt like it told me everything I need to know about the running back position in 2019, where production kind of has more to do with your game plan and the team around you than it does. Gurley's great, but C.J. Anderson was the better running back last week.
He was the better running back on the field that day. He was.
C.J. Anderson now has 3 100-yard rushing games, and he's only played 3 games so far. He's been great since he got there. Maybe the rest of the NFL just doesn't know what we're doing because no one signed him until week 17. But
I mean,
also he's gotten freaking huge. There was a picture from when he played at the Broncos to what he looks like now, and it was hilarious. He looks like he ate the old C.J. Anderson.
I think the Cowboys were trying to let him run to wear his ass out. It's like he can't keep doing this. He's so big, you know.
Then they brought in the MVP candidate Todd Gurley when he got worn out, and he looked like an MVP.
Yeah. Dallas was doing the rope-a-dope defense.
Yeah, exactly.
They keep hitting us enough, they'll get tired, they'll quit. That didn't happen.
But
Kevin,
can't even say
you've got a good point, Kevin. That is a good point. That a lot of times it's the scheme that drives a running back. Although I will say that if C.J. Anderson hadn't been there, we'd be talking about Todd Gurley having 240 yards rushing against the Cowboys in an epic performance. And they didn't need that because they had C.J. Anderson. But scheme does have a lot to do with it, and you can plug certain types of running backs into certain types of schemes. And I think in both of those situations, those coaching staffs did well to find the running back that fit their.
Now, I know LJ probably has a response to this.
15-yard passes, but
I just I take a little bit of offense that you're calling out running backs like that because I think every position is so scheme dependent. Quarterback is maybe possibly the only position where a player can be better than the scheme. I mean, you look at like every other position in the NFL and it works that way. So it's not just a running back thing. You're not just saying running backs in 2019 are plug and play if you've got a good game plan. So
it's just, I guess what I've noticed was all year we talk about, Ezekiel Elliott's and Todd Gurley's and Melvin Gordon's and Saquon Barkley's, but then in the divisional round where the best teams are left, the 3 guys that you're talking about now are C.J. Anderson, Damian Williams, and Sony Michel, who put the team on their back and just dominated. Yep. And I don't know. I just think at some point you're going to see I think running backs – I hate it because I love a good running game, and I like watching Ezekiel Elliott and them. But if you get the right scheme in there, I think the running backs are kind of hit or miss. You find a Kamara and plug them in.
I think the wide receivers work that way too. It's not like Antonio Brown was just a definite number 1 person back when he got brought into the league. Neither was I guess Odell Beckham Jr. was probably thought it was pretty good, but like a lot of wide receivers. Yeah. Besides and now that I'm thinking about it, damn it, Julio Jones was known to be great. Hopkins was known to be
was
great.
a first-round pick.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just straight up wrong. But it does feel like every team is built on a scheme, and it's those that are good at adapting their scheme that are the Belichicks of the world, and it's those that are good at using the scheme that they can use that are the McVays of the world right now. So I think running backs are as good as or as useful as any other position in that sense to me, and a highly picked running back is the same of that.
Yeah. Goff didn't have a great game, but that one run, I can't remember it, when it was still a one-possession game. I think it was an 8-point game, and Goff, like on 3rd and 6, had that roll out and then ran for it. That really felt like a hit below the belt for a Cowboys fan, because you thought there's a lot of ways we could lose this 3rd and 6, but not Goff running. That's not how I saw it happening. Speaking of something that'll kind of shock you and be like a little hit below the belt, if you ever are ordering tickets online and you get hit with some of those fees when you're trying to order something, that can really be a pain in the ass. But luckily, if you're a listener to the JPP pod, you don't have to worry about that, because we want to tell you about our friends over at TickSplits.com. They don't have the extra fees. TickSplits is what you see on the price is what you end up paying for your ticket. And actually, right now, if you want to jump in, maybe you want to go to that game down in Kansas City, where I think now they're saying like an Arctic blast is supposed to hit Kansas City. It's going to be like 8 degrees below 10. But if you want to go and sit
for me, but
if you want to go check out a game, hit up TickSplits.com. Put in the promo code Armchair. That is TIXBLITZ.com. Promo code Armchair. And they'll give you 5% off your entire purchase. Maybe you're like Tony, you want to go see Michael Bublé, or you want to go see Hamilton or something. Just
so you're telling me if I go to TickSplits.com and put in promo code Armchair, then the number I see on the screen is not even. I'm paying less than that.
Yeah, you're actually going to pay less than the number they show you on the screen, because you're getting extra. Thank you for
bringing this deal to my attention.
So I just want to make sure you know. I just wanted to make sure everyone out there knew.
Wow.
And let's. LJ, you mentioned receivers, and there was one that kind of showed out in the final game of the divisional round. And I think maybe Uncle Tony mentioned this guy too, but boy, Michael Thomas almost reached that 600 yards you were talking about. He was
give or take
fire.
Give or take.
The magic that is Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles is officially over. The Saints win 20-14. I'll toss it over to you, LJ. What were your thoughts from that game?
Well, I'm just, after watching those other 3 games all weekend, and then that one came on, I was just on fire, like from the first play. It was just an exciting game immediately. It was such a turnaround. But it was fun to watch. It was sad to watch Nick Foles go down, but the better team won. And I really enjoyed watching it. Alvin Kamara had a hell of a game too, right?
Kamara and Ingram both had pretty solid games. I mean, I don't think their stats end up showing great, but when they needed a big play, it seemed like Kamara was making it.
I remember seeing 400 yards from scrimmage. Yeah, he had 71 rushing and 35 receiving, so he had a pretty good game. Ingram had 53 yards rushing.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game.
That's a normal day for them.
Yeah,
but Tony was right on Michael Thomas. Golly, he was the man.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Were you a little, Tony, did you think the Saints were in trouble at the start of that game? Because I know me and Pops were watching that game together, and the Eagles got up 14-0 quick, and they got that pick on Breeze. I kind of thought maybe this Foles magic maybe there's something to this thing.
Yeah, I there was a fleeting moment where I thought they were in trouble, and I knew the Saints had the firepower to come back from that. All I thought that did was keep the Eagles in the game longer. As it turned out, that was going to be the only points they got. That to me was shocking that those 2 touchdowns were the only touchdowns Philadelphia got. Yeah. But I think New Orleans showed their defense on that. And so I want to make sure I get this in. And this was a great game. It was fun to watch. But I think now Alshon Jeffrey may go down with the worst pass drop in playoff history next to our good buddy Jackie Smith, who dropped a Roger Staubach pass in the back of an end zone to cost the Cowboys the Super Bowl
may be dating yourself there. Some of the
young'uns, go out there and Google it. Jackie
I might have
Smith
been in single digits when that happened, Tony. I don't remember.
Jackie Smith drops a pass and does a belly flop. It's really interesting, but here's how close this game was. If Alshon Jeffrey catches that pass, and he should hit him right in the hands, and he knew it. If he catches that pass, the Eagles have 2 minutes and they're on the Saints 20. That's
and a touchdown would have won it. A touchdown extra point, they would have won it.
Extra point wins it. And man, that close. And that's when karma comes to get you. And they'd had their run, and it just wasn't meant to be. But I think if Jeffrey catches that pass, they've got a good shot at beating the Saints right there.
And you know who owes Alshon Jeffrey, I think, a new car or something might be old Carson Wentz, because if Nick Foles and them make a way to find that win and get to the NFC Championship, we might be having a quarterback controversy. And I think now they can probably go on to Wentz and say this Foles thing was a great run, but it's probably not lasting. I'm interested. I will be interested to see what they end up getting out of Foles or Wentz, because I mean, he did win a Super Bowl and the team did buy into him. I think there's something there. But it was the thing that really interested me about this game was it was the Saints D that had to pick up and kind of wake up the offense with that pick they got late in the second quarter, when that seemed like that's when Drew Brees kind of finally woke up and they would knock the rust off. And then, like LJ mentioned, there was that one drive in the third quarter that I forget how long it was. I think it was like a 13-minute drive where they went 92 yards and Kamara was running, Ingram was running, Michael Thomas got hit. Every time it was 3rd and 5 or longer, you better believe Michael Thomas was getting the ball, and he was open every single time. They just couldn't guard him, and it was what we talked about. And Dad, what do you think? Did the Saints kind of show you how they might be the most complete team playing right now? Offense, defense,
I don't think they didn't choke. You know, they didn't get down. They believed in themselves, and they did come back and win. I think they probably, like you said, helped Nick Foles. He might go to his future. He might go in films or something. I think he might have a future in that. That might be a little easier than linebackers looking for him. But yeah, I think I still like. I think that LA Rams New Orleans game should be a very good game, and definitely I'm excited to watch it. But I will be pulling, of course, for my boy Drew. Boy Drew, and so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Let's go ahead. Let's go right to it and let's look at these matchups in the championship games. And during the regular season, these four teams actually these same matchups played. And if you remember, the Saints and Rams played, and there was a combined 80 points, combined 970 yards of offense, and just 3 punts. And then when the Chiefs and Patriots played, there was 83 combined points, 900 yards of offense, and just 1 punt. So we clearly have LJ's favorite week of football coming up. It might just be like Monday night, Chiefs-Rams all over again. It'll be a fun matchup. Let's go AFC first and look at Tom Brady and the Chiefs. And I think I saw that line opened up at Chiefs as a 3-point favorite. I would think that goes down eventually.
I think it opened up at 3.5 and went to 3 real quick, is what I think I'd heard.
Yeah.
So it's the first time the Chiefs have ever hosted an AFC championship game. And it's also the first time since 2013 that the Patriots have been underdogs in a postseason game. So, LJ, I ask you, what do you got? What you think happens this week?
Well, okay, so I'll tell you that the only teams that I can remember ever beating Tom Brady in the playoffs is a team that can get some sacks, and those two look pretty on fire. But I'll also say that I'm much more afraid of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady than Andy Rooney and Patrick Mahomes. And I know that over the next 18 years, I'm going to regret saying that. But, I mean, seriously, that's the way I feel. So, I think the Patriots pull it out in the end. But it should be a really close game. Should be a good game.
Well, I think if you're going to believe anybody's going to have an adjustment from that 83-point game where it was the big Chiefs-Patriots game earlier this year, if there's any coach out there that can find a way to adjust and maybe slow down Mahomes, I would put my money on Bill Belichick. He's done it time and time again.
He's looking at the tape.
And he's always got some tape, huh? Mm. And the game's going to be like we mentioned, it's going to be freezing in Arrowhead, and I've seen a lot of Bill Belichick, Tom Brady Patriots game where they win in a cold postseason game. I haven't seen as many from Mahomes, who's from Texas, probably hasn't played in as many games where it's below freezing. Tony, I'll go to you. What do you think as the resident Chiefs fan? You like the Chiefs, or?
Yeah, this one is a tough one. I'm predicting 26-24 Chiefs.
I like that game.
And the reason I say that, it is cold. There's going to be some turnovers, and there's going to be some things they'll have to make adjustments for. And here's the positives for both sides. And the Patriots, again, have a quick passing attack. The speed of the Chiefs are probably going to be not as important as they were against the Colts. And so with that type of quick passing attack, I think the Chiefs are going to be not able to put as much pressure on Brady as they'd like to, unless they can figure out something. But on the other side, the one thing that really messes up Belichick and the Patriots is unconventional play. You've seen where the Ravens have had success against Belichick with unconventional defenses. You've seen other teams. If you're not playing a standard, hey, come line up with a fullback, running back, or three wides or something. He struggles with that, and there's not many more unconventional players right now than Patrick Mahomes, and so and that offense, and so we'll see. I think they can throw just enough out there at him. It's going to be a case if the Chiefs can get out and hold on, because that's just Andy Reid's MO. He's going to scare you to death for 2.5 quarters, and then all of a sudden you're just holding on.
And he's going to forget that he has 3 timeouts, or he'll use them too early.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's something, and that's just the way that offense is built. We talked about that in one of our first podcasts. Is the Chiefs, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, anybody that they score a bunch early and they just got to hold on. But I think they can hold on to this one just because there's some things going on that the Patriots aren't aware of. But it wouldn't surprise me to see the Patriots win, because they're the ones that have been there. And
they do it.
It's Brady's got that thing on his shoulder. Everybody's talking about this kid is supposed to take the crown from me. Well, fuck you. I've still got it, and you got to take it from me. And so I like the Chiefs here, though. Like I said, something close.
It's only fitting that Patrick Mahomes' chance to get to the Super Bowl. You know, he's the young star, but if you're a young star, especially in the AFC at quarterback, there's a guy with the number 12 up in Foxborough that you have to go through to become that man. Yep. And Dad, do you kind of echo those thoughts? Do you like the Chiefs over the Patriots, or where are you kind of?
You know, here was my thought on that. Is we've heard about how good a coach Andy Reid is, and did you call him Andy Rooney? I thought actually, which is kind of funny. I thought you said Andy Rooney, or maybe that's what my mind thought. You know, the guy on 60 Minutes.
I know you're talking about.
But I'm just saying, we've heard for years that Andy Reid is such a great coach. Well, by God, here's your chance. Show me. I'm from Missouri. Show me that you're that great a coach, because you're fixing to play. You've got the athletes to play with Tom Brady. You can do it. You're at home. Show me you got the coaching ability and do it. And with all that said, I'm going with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and I do believe that New England will win the game. So I'd like to see Kansas City win it. I'd love to see that. But
I think where I keep falling on this game is just it's hard for me. And it sounds like I'm just beating a dead horse, what y'all are saying. But if I just think the game gets ugly, and I think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, if I have to put my money on either Brady and Belichick or a young Mahomes and Andy Reid, I just would rather go down saying I was wrong on Brady Belichick. I stayed a little too long on him. And I kind of think we haven't seen it catch up to him yet, but Mahomes does have the fun stuff where he scrambles around and throws it left-handed or throws it across his body. And we haven't really seen that bite him in the butt yet. And it's a big stage, and I could see one where he tries to make a play where he just is pushing a little bit too much. But Tony's mentioned it, and the Chiefs do have a speed. I honestly think Tyreek Hill is the fastest player I've ever watched play. That little reverse where all the different guys had an angle on him, and he just outran them.
He just ran past him. He ran past him. It was crazy.
Yes, he does that once every couple of weeks when he's
not
just
even the speed; it's the quickness.
I mean, it's unbelievable. It honestly looks like when you're playing like Madden or NCAA and you put the speed of the defense, like when you just want to dominate and you put the speed of the defense lower than your guys, he looks created. Like he's just faster than everyone else on the field. And sometimes I think Dad said it before, there's one thing you can't coach, and that's speed, baby.
Timing.
Speed, baby. Here's your lastly, real quick key for the Patriots, and this was it. And if Trey Flowers can be more physical than the right side of the Chiefs' offensive line, then the Chiefs probably lose that game. Trey Flowers has shown to be a powerful young man on that defensive tackle, defensive inside. Forget what's 3-5. I forget what position they call him that he plays, but he's a hoss, and they can't outquick Kansas City. But if for some reason he can outpower that right side of that offensive line, I think the Patriots probably win that ball game. That may be what it could.
I do think, I said this last week too, but with Rivers and Brady. But this game is the one I really want to see, because I think it is fun. It's the old heads against kind of the young quarterback, the once in a generation talent against the GOAT. I think there's a lot of intriguing stuff about this matchup. And let's go over to another guy who is maybe one of the GOATs. And
well, it's a little early on Goff, isn't it?
Goat Junior.
We got
Goat
the
Junior.
Saints playing in the Superdome. It's going to be rocking on Sunday. And this is a rematch, like we said. The Saints beat them by 10 last time. I think I know where Dad's kind of leaning because he's got a little man love for number 9 in black. But what do you think, LJ? What are your thoughts kind of going into this game?
Man, I guess all I know is that I'm just ready to watch football. I don't know anything about football, it turns out. So what I'm leaning is I think that New Orleans
Welcome
wins.
to the party, pal.
I think New Orleans wins this game, but I can't tell you why. I have no idea anymore. I'd say that they're the better team, but I've been wrong about that every time I've said it. So I just think they win.
What do you say, Uncle Tony?
Gosh, I'm with LJ on this one, man. It is such a tough one to call on this game. But
you can talk me into either one. You can easily talk me into either team winning this.
Yeah, I will say this, LJ. I don't know if there's like a Little Rascals cartoon festival or something going on in Chicago on Sunday, but you might as well go buy tickets, brother, because you're not going to watch these football games because there's going to be a lot of scoring going on. So you might as well not watch it. I think this is a big scoring game. I think you're going to be seeing something like 38, 34, 41, 37. It's going to be a shootout. And it's tough to not call the Saints at home, but I think the Rams have a little more depth at receiver than the Saints do, as good as Michael Thomas is. I just don't, Ted Ginn is no Brandon Cooks, but I just think that the Rams are just a little too balanced, and I think the Rams pull out one at just at the end of this.
Fair enough.
Well, and it's interesting. We get to see another rematch, and we kind of brought it up in that last game, but maybe Belichick getting to see the Rams for a second time. Sean McVay's also getting to see that Saints defense for a second time, and it wasn't like he was bad the first time. And say what you will, there's like the running joke right now in the NFL about how everybody who's had a beer with Sean McVay's getting a head coaching job. But Sean McVay offensively is, I think he's a savant, and he has seen Sean Payton's team now twice. But on the same spectrum, Sean Payton and Drew Brees have been there, done that, and they've seen a lot, and they're now getting their second crack at this Rams team. The thing I'm most interested, I don't know if y'all remember after that first matchup where Michael Thomas obliterated Marcus Peters that whole game on double moves, on all kinds of stuff. And after the game, Marcus Peters went on a little rant just talking shit about Sean Payton and told him, he basically said, wait, we'll see you again, and I hope you're still talking and still coming with that same energy. And I bet Sean Payton, he's going to roll in there with his cart full of $225,000 straight cash, homie, and they'll be ready to play. It'll be a fun one. And the weather ain't going to affect this one since we're in the Superdome. So, Dad, I'm still debating on my pick. As you can tell, I'm kind of whiff-waffling a little bit. But where are you going? The Saints are 3.5-point favorite. What do you think on that?
Let's look at the defense. I think the Saints have the better defense. Let's look at the quarterback, and the Saints have the better quarterback. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think Jared Goff is good, but I think the Saints have a better quarterback.
Yeah, you don't need to argue that.
Who's got the better coach? I'm going to take Sean Payton and his experience over the new guru Sean McVay. I just think it's the Saints game to win. I really do. I'm picking the Saints.
And who's at home?
Coach.
In the Superdome.
And they're home. They're in the Superdome. It's going to be rocking. Now, the Saints have not scored a lot of points. They hadn't put a tremendous amount of points on the board of late. And that is a little worrisome because they hadn't done it in several weeks. But I'm just taking – I take Breeze over Goff. I think Kamara, he can't beat Pork Chop Anderson and Gurley, but, I do think that he is a damn good back, and you got Ingram kind of the bowling ball there. And I just think Sean Payton is going to be the better coach. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Saints.
I don't know if maybe I was staying at your house this weekend, so I don't know if maybe you brainwashed me, but that's kind of the mindset I'm going. You just look at better quarterback. I think the defenses are about equal in my eyes, but I think it comes down to, I think they're about equal at everywhere on the field except for Drew Brees and Goff, and give me Drew Brees. I'm going to go down swinging with Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and if both of them lose, then maybe it's a change into the guard in the NFL. But I think I'm going Saints as well in this one, and then it'll be either way. I can't wait. I think the divisional round was kind of a letdown. To me, that's usually my most exciting weekend of football because it's supposed to be the 4 best teams or the 8 best teams playing. But that was kind of a letdown. I think this weekend has all the makings of being a great Sunday of football. And I'm excited for it. That's for sure.
Me too.
If I understand correctly, Kevin and I are the only ones that can win the Super Bowl bet now from last week because LJ's out because I beat him in both the games.
Yeah.
And Dr. Liff is out because he wisely chose the same 2 teams in the game. I guess he's still got Kansas City.
He's
still got Kansas City.
Statistically,
He's still
must
got
be
Kansas
in.
City. That's right. So
Yeah.
the guy that doesn't know anything about football is out. Right?
Yeah, the
Guy
one
that doesn't know
who
anything about football is out.
admitted
Yeah.
that he doesn't.
Yeah. I'm gonna go watch Little Rascals, like you said. So.
All right, well, I think that'll wrap up another episode of the JPP pod. I don't know if you'll be able to tell we had a few technical difficulties at the back end of this sucker, but we were able to wrap it up and on to another championship round. Make sure if you're going to be betting on the game, you need to go down to MyBookie, put in the promo code JPP, or if you're like LJ and you're going to go watch a Little Rascals play instead of watching any of these games, go type in the promo code armchair on ticksplits.com and get 5% off those Little Rascals tickets. And then you don't have to watch all that scoring this weekend, LJ. So it's a win-win situation for all of us. So that'll do it. That'll do it for another week of the JPP pod. We will catch you next week and look ahead to the Super Bowl. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.